It's no surprise that you can use ChatGPT to help you code actual apps. But did you know that you can also use ChatGPT to help you build no-code apps as well? Well, in today's video, I'm going to be giving you 10 solid tips to help you build an amazing apps using no-code tools. And you definitely do not want to miss any of these tips, so make sure you watch the video until the end. Now, in this first tip, we are doing brainstorming. So we're going to ask ChatGPT to give us interesting app ideas that are similar to an app that we are trying to build. So for this tip, you can ask it something like this. You can say, give me 5 different ideas similar to a Tinder dating app. All right, so it went ahead and generated me a list of 5 different ideas that are similar to a Tinder dating app in this example. And obviously you can put anything that you want. You can put Uber Eats, you can put Uber, you can put Airbnb, and you can have it create you a list with an interesting creative spin on an existing app. So it gave us 5 different ideas. So we have a niche match, we have icebreaker, date buddy, video mingle, and second chance. And so you want to read through these ideas and see what is the unique twist is, right? What's the catchy thing about the specific idea? So this is about matching users with interests, hobbies, or lifestyles. Icebreaker is about starting conversations through fun and engaging activities. Instead of swiping left to right, users answer icebreaker questions or participate in games to match with others. Okay, so this is pretty cool. Icebreakers, an interesting twist. We have Date Buddy, right? Date Buddy is an app that combines dating and event planning. Users can create and browse various activity-based dates, art class, cooking lesson, hiking trip, and join the ones that interest them, okay? Video Mingle, so that has the kind of a video angling. And then we have Second Chance, is a dating app designed to reconnect people who have crossed paths in real life. Okay, that's interesting. Users can log in and see other users they've encountered in their daily lives. Okay, so let's say you went through this list, and let's say you like something on this list. If you kind of read through everything and you're not sure, right? You're kind of like meh on some of these ideas, you can ask it to give you 5 more ideas, and it's going to go out and create 5 more ideas. But let's say at this point in time you kind of like one of these, right? So I kind of, this one caught my attention, the Second Chance. And so you can have it kind of explain to you more about it, right? You can kind of go deeper in this example. And so in this next tip, you want to ask ChatGPT to give you some interesting ideas about one of these apps that caught your attention. So let's say you like Second Chance. You can go and ask it something like this. What are some unique features, for example, 5, I should implement that will set my app apart? Okay, so that's kind of what you're thinking. You want the app to be unique, right? You don't want it to be just another app in the sea of all of these dating apps, right? So we can ask it something like this, and let's see what it says. All right, so it finished generating the answer, and so it's telling us for the Second Chance app, you can implement the following unique features to set it apart from other dating apps. So we have real-time location tracking, enable users to see when they are in close proximity to someone they've crossed paths before. Story-based profiles. Instead of traditional text profiles, users can create dynamic timestamp stories that showcase their daily life experiences and interests. Okay, very interesting. Time-limited match windows. Okay, this is actually pretty cool, right? Like, this is very unique, right? Time-limited match windows. Once users express interest in connecting with someone else, they've crossed paths with, they have a limited time window to start a conversation. Okay, 48 hours. Okay, very, very cool, right? Kind of reminds me of one of these time-limited chats that people have, right? Chats that expire. Mutual friends and interests. Integrate with the app with social media platforms to display mutual friends. Anonymous missed connection posts. Allow users to create anonymous posts about their missed connections, describing the encounter and the person they're hoping to find, okay? And these last ones, in-app event creation, facilitate the organization of small-scale interest-based events for users who have crossed paths and share common interests. And then you have safety measures and verification. So very interesting, right? Very interesting features. And definitely some of these, got me kind of excited, right? Got my creative juices flowing, right? So something like story-based profiles, time-limited match windows, yeah, mutual friends, it's been done before, anonymous misconnection flow. So there are a couple that kind of give you ideas, and you can obviously ask it to give you more ideas that are similar to maybe, time limited match windows and stuff like that. So you can kind of go deeper, or you can just ask it to give you more ideas. Just you kind of expand the list if you want. But these are actually really, really good ideas, and I can definitely see myself kind of implementing some of the ideas that I'm seeing here. Now, let's say at this point in time, you've decided you want to build this second chance app. Okay, so until now, we are talking about the app. We're trying to understand what the app is. We're trying to kind of figure out what the app is going to be doing, but we have not yet actually started to kind of build the diagrams, the architecture, and kind of try to piece this app out in order to start building it. And so this is my next tip, is that you want to ask it to give you kind of an architectural diagram, but with a twist, right? You want to have a diagram with using Flutterflow or whichever no-code app builder that you're using. You don't want it to build you just a general diagram. You want to have a diagram that's going to be applicable to the specific no-code tool that you're using, right? And so at this point, you can ask it something like this. Give me a general high-level outline of how to build this app with Flutterflow. And obviously, if you're using something else, you're going to change this to something else. So let's see what it says. All right, so it finished generating an answer and actually came up with 10 steps. And this is really, really interesting. So it's telling us to plan the app, okay, set up Flutterflow, design the user experience. Okay, so now we are getting somewhere interesting. Okay, so it's saying use the visual builder to create the app's main screens. Okay, and it's actually listing the main screens. Okay. And now we're getting somewhere interesting because we can ask it for specifics, okay? Screens, flows, things like that. And this is something I'm going to get to in just a second. And then it's talking about the app logic, and then it's talking about the integrating backend services. And it's exactly following this diagram, right? So we have this typical app design diagram. And whenever you're building an app, this is kind of what you're going to be following, right? You're going to be building the UI, you're going to be building the logic, you're going to have the backend, you might have API. And this is exactly what it's telling us to do, right? Create the app logic, define app states, actions, and events using the visual builder, create and configure custom logic blocks for more advanced functionality, right? Real-time location tracking, time-limited match windows, right? And so this is going to be custom, right? This is probably going to be custom widgets, custom actions, custom functions, things like that. But most likely custom widgets. Next is telling us to integrate backend services, set up a backend service such as Firebase, social media integration, safety and verification, then test, export, and maintain the app. But what really caught my attention here is how it's actually listing the screens, right? So use the visual app builder to list the screens. So as you're looking through this, right, pay attention to the details, right? Because this tool can actually tell you how many screens you should have, what those screens should be, right? It can give you a lot of very unique information that at first glance you might not even realize that it's possible to do it. So let me show you what I mean. Now at this point you can dig a little deeper and you can ask it something like this: list all the screens I need to implement for the UI, right? And it's gonna go out and it's gonna tell you all the screens that you need, so you have a general idea of how the app is going to function. All right, so it finished generating the screens that we requested. And this is what it came back with: a splash screen, welcome screen, login screen, registration screen, onboarding screens, home screen, profile screen, edit profile screen, missed connection screen, chat screen, event creation, event details, notification screen, and settings screen. So really, really nice. Obviously, if you're building an app, you probably don't need all of these screens, such as maybe an onboarding screen or some of these other screens. At least it gives us an idea of what to expect. And we haven't really got into Flutterflow yet, right? We haven't logged in and we haven't really started to build an app. We just trying to figure out the kind of the how complex this app is going to be. We're trying to figure out the scope of this app, right? And right away you can see that it's suggesting 14 screens, right? So this is not going to be a very, very simple app. This is going to be a more complex app. Another thing that you can do is you can ask it to explain to you the algorithm, right? The logic, right? So you can say something like, tell me more about the matching logic, right? Because this is a dating app, right? So it needs some logic to match up people, right? When I built a Tinder clone in with Flutterflow, I talked a lot about the matching logic, how you really have to understand how it works, because that's really the selling point of the app. That's kind of the number one thing with the app. If you're not sure how the logic is going to work in this app, you can ask it, right? Tell me more about the matching logic. All right, so this is what it came up with. It gave us a list of 7 things. And so it's telling us here are some key components to consider when creating the matching algorithm: location-based matching, time-sensitive matching, mutual friends and interests, user preferences, activity and engagement, user ratings and feedback, and even machine learning, right? So if you've read that and you're like, well, I'm not really sure how all of that works, right? You can ask it to draw you a diagram, right? So you can ask it for something like this: draw me a diagram of this matching algorithm. Okay. All right. So this is what it came up with. And it's telling us, as an AI language model, I am unable to directly draw diagrams. Okay. So it couldn't actually draw these diagrams. However, I can describe the components and flow of the matching algorithm. Okay, so it's giving us kind of this flow: start, location, data, cross paths, user preferences, social media, filter, etc., etc. But if you actually wanted to draw, there's a little tip that I can give you, right? What you can do is you can ask it something like this: draw me a diagram of this matching algorithm as ASCII art. Okay, so you will see exactly what that's gonna do. So if you do that, it's gonna draw a diagram using ASCII art, right? And ASCII is just a way to present these characters on the screen, and ASCII art is what you're looking at. So this is a little hack that allows it to actually draw things. So check this out. It's actually drawing a diagram right now. All right, so this is what it came up with, and it actually drew a diagram, right? Kind of drew this representation here, right? So start, location, data, cross paths, user preferences, and social media data, filter matches, sort matches, machine learning, display matches. So this is a really nice diagram. And actually, me personally, I'm a visual person. I gotta see everything, in a diagram. I gotta diagram everything. And when I see this, a lot of things click for me. And this means that I will, spend less time drawing diagrams and trying to understand it. I'll still probably draw more diagrams, but at this point in time, at least I understand kind of what's happening, and I can, I'm gonna spend less time kind of trying to understand it. It's gonna save me time as a result. So this is really, really cool. Now, we talked about the UI, we talked about the logic. Let's talk about the backend now, right? A lot of people have questions about the backend. Where should I store data? How should I store data? How should I, do everything? Well, ChatGPT can help you with that as well. So for instance, you can ask it something like this: what about the backend? How should I store data if I'm using Flutterflow? Okay, so we asked it, what is the best way of storing data? And this is kind of what it came up with. Flutterflow provides integration with several backend services, including Google Firebase, AWS Amplify, and others. Here's a general overview of how you can store data for second chance, right? So it's giving us kind of the steps, right? That, if you've been doing this, you probably already know, right? Set up Firebase, define data structure, create Firebase collections. Okay, create Firebase collections to store the app's data structure. For example, create a users collection to store user profiles, and a missed connections collection to store missed connection posts. So it gave us kind of a high level overview of what we have to do, but what caught my attention is the details. Okay, so you might be asking yourself, well, what collections do I need, right? What fields do I need on these collections? What kind of documents am I going to be storing if I'm going to be using Firebase, Firestore, right? Well, you can ask it. You can ask it to give you details. So you can ask it something like this: tell me more about the data models in the Firestore database. Which collections and fields would I need? Be specific. All right, so I asked it to be more specific, to actually give me the collections, the documents, the fields, things like that I would need to store for this app. So it actually did that. Sure, here's an example of how you can structure the Firebase database for the second chance app: collections, users, and it actually gave me the field: preferences as an object, age range, array of integers, gender, distance, interest. Then we have missed connections, right? All of these. We have matches, we have chat rooms, we have messages, we have events, We have all of these things. So it's actually like giving us, right? Obviously, this may not be your final schema when you're building this app, but at least it's a start. At least it's something to think about. Another thing that you can do is you can ask it for advice. You can, if you're undecided about whether you want to be using Firebase, Firestore, or you want to be using Supabase, or you want to be using something else. So you can ask it something like this. If I'm building this app with Flutterflow, should I use Firebase or Supabase? Okay. And so this is kind of what it came up with. It's telling us the cost, the features, ease of use, community support, things like that. And you can dig deeper if you are not sure which option is going to be best for you. And so you can ask for advice and have it come back and tell you what it feels is the best option. Another thing that you can do is you can ask it to write you code for Flutterflow widgets. And that is because Flutterflow widgets are nothing more than Flutter code. And so you can ask it something like this. Write a Flutter widget that prints the current sign. And that's going to go generate a Flutter widget that prints the current time. And you can use this widget inside of Flutterflow. Okay, so now we have this widget. We can copy this. I'm going to go to one of my Flutterflow apps here, and I'm going to create a new widget. I'm going to come here. I'm going to create a new widget. And I'm going to call it, we have a custom widget. I'm going to click here. We're going to generate this boilerplate. Next, you're going to copy everything inside of state here. So you see, it says state. I'm going to select just below it. I'm going to drag lower, and I'm going to end here. I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to paste it inside of this state. You see, it says state here. We're going to paste it, fix that up right here. And the other thing that you need to do is if you go back up, you see that there's a package here. So we already have this package fluttermaterial.art, but we don't have this package. So we're going to copy this package here and we're going to paste it right here. We're going to hit save. All right. And now you can preview it, right? You can come over here and you can actually preview it. And so you can make it bigger. And there's the current time, as you can see right here. And you can come back to ChatGPT. You can ask it to add a button, add a clickable button to this widget. Okay. And you can do the same thing where it says state, go down, copy all of this, come back to Flutterflow, come back to Flutterflow, come back here and replace the state, right? If you do that, we now have this new widget here, right? So we can hit save. Okay, it looks good. There's no errors, at least not yet. We can hit compile. All right, now we can preview this, make it a little bit bigger. Okay, so now it says current time and it has a button right here that you can click. And if we go back to the widget here, if we edit this again, you can see that what it essentially did is it created a column, and the first element is child, which is the time, and then we have the elevated button, and this button is pressed, you have this result here. So obviously you can make it, more complicated. You can add functionality by simply feeding your prompts to ChatGPT. All right, so you had ChatGPT give you some ideas for building your amazing dating app. We talked about the architecture, we talked about the different flows, the database design, we built some custom widgets as well. Your app is finished, you finished testing it. Okay, it's time to sell your app. It's time to launch your app. And that means it's time to write some campaigns, some marketing campaigns, marketing materials, a website, maybe an email, maybe write an ad if you're, buying ads, writing an ad copy, stuff like that. And you can get ChatGPT to do that for you as well. So as an example, we can ask it to do something like this: create a sales letter for my app, or we can say create a sales copy for my second chance app. There you go. Have you ever caught someone's eye and wished you had the courage to introduce yourself? Have you ever had a missed connection with someone you were sure you could have had a great conversation with, or even something more? Okay, say hello to second chance. So really, really nice hook. Really nice, right? Gives you kind of the main benefit, right? The main selling point of the app right away. Really nice. And our app emphasizes serendipity and encourages people to explore missed connections with potential partners. Okay, but that's not all. Second Chance is more than a dating app. So really, really nice. You can ask it to expand, right? Expand on that, and by listing, 5 main benefits of using this app. Okay, there you have it. So absolutely, here are 5 main benefits of using Second Chance app. rediscover missed connections, serendipity, local events, personalization, user safety and security. Okay, so there you go. So now you have something that is, the beginning of a sales copy or the sales copy, depending on how you look at it. And last but not least, what's an app launch without a website, right? You need a website, and you can have ChatGPT build you a website as well. All you have to do is send a prompt like this: create a web page for my app, include red box placeholders for images, right? Because it's not going to be able to generate images. Maybe we'll use Midjourney or Stable Diffusion for images. But right now we can have like a skeleton for this web site that we're building. So you can have something like this: create a web page for my app, include a sales copy, and include red box placeholders for images. Okay, and here's an example of a web page for Second Chance app, including a sales copy. Okay, so it's generating it. All right, so there's the web page here. We can copy this. Let me go ahead and copy this onto my computer. All right, and there's the web page that it generated. Rediscover the magic of serendipity. Connect with people you've crossed paths with in your daily life and explore missed connections with Second Chance. Our app emphasizes the magic of serendipity, helping you make unexpected connections with like-minded people in your community. Okay, so there's a button, and then you have placeholders for images, and this could be screenshots or pictures of happy couples that have met each other through this app or something like that. So really nice web page. Obviously, you can ask it to, add more sections, create a sales page, a proper sales page. All of that is just a question of adding more and more to your prompt and adding more and more requests. Now, if you guys enjoyed this video and you are looking into using ChatGPT in order to build the next app that you're trying to build, or help you finish an app that you're building right now, you definitely want to join my amazing Patreon community, okay? Because when you join my amazing Patreon community, not only will you get access to all the Flutterflow apps that I built on this channel, and that means you can easily view that specific Flutterflow app on flutterflow.com, and you can even clone it and start tinkering with it and, adding new functionalities or changing things around. It's really, really up to you. But not only that, you also get access to a lot of extra content, such as Q&As, live streams, behind the scenes content, and my Patreon exclusive masterclass series where I do a deep dive on specific topics that the community votes on. And in fact, I'm going to be doing an amazing masterclass shortly. We're actually going to be doing a poll inside of our Patreon community in order to see what kind of topics does the community want me to explore. And so that is something that we're going to be doing very, very shortly. And if you don't want to miss out on things like that, then you definitely want to join our Patreon community. And above all, when you join our Patreon community, you're going to be supporting my channel and supporting my work, and that is greatly, greatly appreciated. So if all of that sounds good, if all of that sounds like it's going to provide you with a ton of value and help you become a better no-code developer, then I definitely urge you to check it out and become a member. And you can check out our community using a link in the description below this video. Now, if you guys want to see more videos where I talk about ways of building apps faster and easier with less stress, then you definitely want to check out the video you're seeing in the corner of your screen. That is one of my favorite videos when it comes to building apps with the help of modern AI.